Hey guys, Brisen here. I'm profiling my Chainbeat deck profile for you guys for the 2018 September format. This is one of my most favorite decks to play of all time. I've been playing it for about 8 years now. Or, let me think that. About 7 years now. Sorry guys. 6 or 7. But I really love the deck. It's my first actual competitive deck that I played. I took it to my first regionals and placed pretty high. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy. It's just my Chainbeat deck. I've changed it a lot over the years, so it's probably not like a typical build. And I finally got all the cards for it, so I'm really excited to show you guys. Currently, everything in here is at least hollowed out besides one trap card. So not the highest rarity, unfortunately, but hope you guys still enjoy. For starters, I play through Wind Up Rabbit, my favorite monster in the whole game. During your player's turn, you can target one Wind Up monster, banish it, and it returns during your next standby phase. You can target himself. The cool thing about it is when he goes back from his effect, he's not being summoned. He's being placed by an effect, so you can't summon him, can't torrential. And then when he gets placed by his own effect, then his effect resets and you can use it again. So even though it says once while he's face up on the field, you can just keep using it over and over. And it's a quick effect, so it can chain to trap cards, which is amazing. And that's kind of how it works in the deck, because you run a whole bunch of floaters that bounce out of the way to gain the most advantage that you can out of your traps, and then your opponent just kind of slowly loses advantage. And the next one is Best Friend. My second favorite monster is Evil Swarm Thunderbird. This guy's pretty cool. He's not as good as Wind Up Rabbit because he can't vanish out of the way whenever. He's got to chain to an effect. So these guys can work in tandem with each other. If Wind Up Rabbit vanishes, you can chain to Wind Up Rabbit's effect and get rid of him. And the second part is Thunderbird. You can only use his effect once while he stays up on the field, so you don't want to control more than one copy. Wind Up Rabbit, you control as many as you want. A cool thing about him, though, is when he's banished, he returns during the next standby phase, so he'll come back during your opponents and give you some defense, and he gains 300 attack, so he is a 1950 beater, which can get over, like, Thunder King and a lot of other, like, normal summonable monsters. Sucky thing is, he got an errata with, like, word text. His attack doesn't stack. I heard at some point it used to, which would be amazing, but it doesn't, so always be at 1950. But, yeah, just another monster that can bounce out of the way. So that's it for the main monsters. The last monster I run, because you're on a really small monster count, is One Eater Millions. Because I do play the Desires in here, and he's just an out to any problem monster. Just banish 5 from a field, grave, extra deck, special, and just banish anything he battles. Gains 100 for each face down banish. So he's pretty cool. Just remember he special summons. Next card you run is 3 Black Garden. This is kind of the beat portion of the deck. This card makes the deck. It's an amazing card. Whenever you or your opponent summon a monster, that monster's attack gets halved, and you special summon a level 2 Dark Rose token with 800 attack and defense and attack position to the opposite player's field. So what's really cool is about this is that this card's like a double-edged sword for this deck. If you summon Wind Up Rabbit or Thunderbird under Black Garden, either of these two, Garden will attempt to activate and half these guys' attacks. You can chain their effect to Garden and they'll bounce out of the way, and then your opponent will get a Rose token. Next turn, when they return to the field, they're not being summoned, they're being placed by an effect, so they won't get half by Garden. So Garden will just keep halving your opponent's monsters while your guys just stay at the normal amount. So technically, Wind Up Rabbit can get over anything with 2750 or under, or crash at 2800 that's summoned. And then Evil Swarm Thunderbird can get over anything 3850 and below, or crash at 3900 if he's at 1950, which is just amazing. So these guys just beat over everything on this on board. And Black Garden kind of gives you defense. If you have nothing else, that gives you tokens that you can abuse for link summoning, or just for some traps I'll show you in this deck. But yeah, it's one of the cards I love about this deck. And it can snowball real quick. Next card I play is 3 Demise for consistency. You only play 7 monsters, and this deck is just a whole bunch of floodgates and traps, so being able to draw 3 is amazing. And you do run 3 field spell too, which doesn't take up any back row, so gives you more room to set stuff, which is really cool. Through Duality, because you barely ever special summon except off a Garden, which you need to remember that Garden, you're special summoning the token on your opponent's turn or your turn. But just for consistency. And then 2 Desires. I do have a third. I've tried 3 out in here. I really don't want to draw desires off of desires. I think that's bad. So 2 allows me to see it enough, but not so much to where I'm drawing into it too much, because I'm only playing 40 cards. And the last card was 1D Fisher, because it doesn't touch my deck at all. Literally nothing in my deck gets hurt by it. And sometimes it can blow out other decks, so really good thing to just main deck. That's it for all the spells. Basically just consistency spells, honestly. There's nothing besides like the Defish and the Garden. It's all just to keep the deck running. Which it's great the Desires and Demise came out to keep this deck up to speed. Just they were expensive, it took a while to get. 3 Compulsory Escape Device. This card is key to Chainbeat. This is the only deck that can utilize this card to its full potential. Each player has to control a monster for it to activate, and then each player chooses the monster they control and shuffles into the deck. So it doesn't destroy, it doesn't target. The cool thing about it is, if you have Thunderbird or, Thunderbird or Wind-Up Rabbit, if they're on board and your opponent has a monster, you met the requirements by controlling them. Then you can chain these guys' effects to compulsory, and then your opponent still has to shuffle a monster, and you won't lose your guys because they'll come back. So I think that's really cool. You can also use your Black Garden tokens with it too, so you can just do 1-1 trade-offs with your opponent for a little while with it. I think that's pretty cool. Next is Torrential Tribute. Besides your Senjus, I can't think of another deck that really utilizes this card the most. Maybe Burning Abyss or Goki, because their stuff gets sent to grave, but that's like pure Goki. But because Wind Up Rabbit and Thunderbird can just bounce out of the way of your Torrential Tribute, so they won't die and they'll come back. So just free board clearance, and now this card's at 3, so gotta run it. I play 3 Storming because it's an out to extra link board, so it doesn't target and doesn't destroy. It's a little slower, but it helps just clear board for you. Sometimes you need, especially with this deck, because a lot of stuff you have in here is like reactive to summons, so you would like some stuff that if your opponent gets around the summon, like if it's already on board, you can get it off. I play the Solemn Brigade in the form of 3 strikes, 1 warning, and 1 judgment. I love these cards. They're amazing. I'm glad this finally got reprinted. I don't play Solemn Scolding because it's got to be the only card in your back row, and this you're usually having like 4 or 5 cards in your back row at all times. And then to add to this, I'm actually attacking in 3 Blackhorn of Heaven because I don't want my opponent to get something on board if it's anything bad. So if I haven't attacked over it or storming it or anything, I have 8 ways of stopping it. But these don't give any life points. And this card was bad for a little while because Pendulum Summoning, you could summon like more than 1 a turn. This is exactly 1 monster special summon. But now with Link Summoning and like Sky Strikers and everything else like that, their plays start by summoning 1 monster. So if you negate that 1 summon, you could stop turns or just negate it along the way and hit crucial cards. So I think this card's actually a pretty underlooked card. I think it's pretty good, honestly, now. Because Pendulum Summoning, you have to have a Link and then Pendulum. And by that point, you could have already negated the Link. So 1 card to play is 1 lost win. You can target a fake special summon monster in the field. It negates effect and its original attack is halved. Then if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck while it's in the graveyard, you can set it, but you banish it when it leaves the field. So it's basically like you're running 2 copies of the one. You can get 2 uses out of it. It's a way to negate effects, attack over special summon monsters. I think it's cool. I just have the 1, but because it targets, but it's still pretty awesome. 2 Floodgate. I run 2 summon limits, just in a Floodgate that I run. Rivalry and Gozen are really good cards too, but with like your Thunderbird and Wind Up Rabbit being on board, usually they'll stay on board all game. I don't want cards that'll get rid of my only copies, my only monsters in the deck. I only have 7, so I needed to figure out another way to set on my opponent. So Summon Limit kind of does the job. Neither player can summon more than 2 times per turn, and that counts as the gated summon. So since you're running 7 negates, you can also slow your opponent down that way. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, most decks need more than 1 summon with, like, you know, Nightmare Goblin, Brilliant Fusion, and stuff like that. So if you restrict them to 2, that's usually only 1 Link monster, and then the play would have to end, and you're not summoning at all. And it actually would help you not get like your field full of tokens off your opponent, because if your opponent fills your field with tokens while your Wind Up Rabbit or Thunderbird are banished, they won't be able to return. So that's just a cool card. My last one is a Macrocosmos. Banish anything that hits grave. Like I said, it doesn't hurt you at all. If you do play against a deck that relies on graveyard and you open this, you pretty much just auto win. That's really funny. That's it for the deck. It is 40 cards. We'll go on to the extra deck for you guys. You really don't need to go into this at all. So I just run cards that I like. I run 1 under Clock Taker. I'll go links first. You can target a monster. card points to, and a card your opponent controls that loses attack equal to that monster's attack until the end of the turn. So that's pretty cool. It just helps you get over big monsters. I run one Nightmare Cerberus and one Nightmare Phoenix to out a special summon main monsters on monster and maybe like a Floodgate. And to get in them, I play the Link Spiders because you can just make them off the tokens, which is cool. That's it for my extra deck. If I were to pick up another one, Borreload would always be nice. I think I'd really want Topologic Bomber Dragon, which got reprinted, so I think I'm going to pick him up soon. He's got a cool loop with guard. Props to I forget his name, but he's on he's on Cartula 3's channel. Sorry, I don't want to slaughter his name. Shout out to his channel, it's awesome. But he was playing Garden, and he played Topologic Bomber Dragon with Garden on the field. And what's cool is that then it creates a loop. Whenever your opponent summons a monster, you special summon a Rose token to wherever you want in the field. So you just special summon into a zone that Topologic points in and it blows up board. So it's just a loop, a continuous loop of blowing up board, which is awesome. I wouldn't do Trisbana. I think that card banishes all spells and traps, so that would banish your own, and you want to keep yours. And I think the Bomber's more relevant, but that's it for the links. Like I said, I want to get a Bomber Dragon, and I'd probably just replace the Underclock Taker. So, for my rank 4s, I play one Ophion, because you only run 3 level 4s, so if you are going to go into a rank 4, it would be 2 Eastworm monsters. So this card's really good in level 5 or higher special summon decks. Actually, my first regional, I beat a Chaos Dragon player with this card. Just single-handedly, it was hilarious. One Darker Blade, XC Dragon. You attach 2 materials, target a face-up monster, its attack becomes half its current attack, and it gains it, so it's just a big damage card. One Baguska. If it's an attack, I think it can't be destroyed by card effects. I usually just use the defense position one. It can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects, and you can't target with card effects. And then once in face-up defense position, it's pretty much just a skill drain. And it changes all face-up monsters in the field of defense position. So it's just, it kind of stalls. It helps negate things so you can get rid of them with traps, which is pretty cool. One Castell, shuffle back Floodgates and problem monsters. And then one number 6/6 Master Key Beetle. I like this. You can detach one and target a face-up card, and while he's face-up on the field, that card can't be destroyed by card effects, which is cool, because if you have like a deck that needs Graveyard, you can target your Macro Dimensional and protect it, or target your Garden, your summon limits. I just think it's pretty cheeky, and it takes 2 level 4 darks, so again, the only level 4s you're using are the Thunderbirds, and they're both dark, so it's a possibility. Going to my rank 3s, I play one Tempo. It's an old card, but I like it. You detach material from an XC monster, he gains 500, which is really cool. And well, all face-up gym monsters gain 500, but he'll be the only ones face-up. I beat a Gear player with him in my first regional because he played Zen mains, and I detached his last material and swung over, which is cool. But you can get use out of him. One Grand Pulse just to destroy back row. One Zen mains because I can crash into stuff and detach to pop Floodgates monsters. You can summon him under Torrential and get another plus, which I think is cool. It's got a lot of defense. One Nightmare Shark just to attack for game if your opponent's got a full board, and then finally got reprinted. One Phantom Knight's a break sword. It's a Diamond Dyer, but for rank 3, so you have like a lot of Floodgates and other cards you can just pop for free to pop problem cards. So. Yeah, but that's it, guys. That is my Chainbeat deck profile for the September 2018 format. Like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, the only card that I'd really run in here is the Topologic Bomber Dragon. And I did pick up 3 more Floodgates. There can only be 1, or whichever. It's one of the new ones where you and your opponent can only control 1 copy of a face-up attribute, which doesn't hurt this deck because, Wind Rabbit and Thunderbird, they're both different types. Which is why I won't run Gozen in Rivalry, so I think that would be my card to be able to run that could hurt a lot of other decks. But it might be sided too, I have to test it. But that's just something for the future. But anyways, hope you guys like this deck profile. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for this deck, or for me, or for anything on my channel, please let me know and try to make it happen for you guys. It's one of my favorite decks, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed it. I'll see you.